Alright, guys, got a track guide for Worldwide Technology Raceway, otherwise known as Gateway, which today I learned is in Illinois. I did not know that. I don't know where I thought it was. I was thinking like St. Louis area. I don't know. Anyways, so I do a 15 lap run, then I do a qualifying run here at the end. This track's gonna be unique because I don't think Xfinity really runs here. So for the league, we had a setup made. Setup feels pretty good, so no issues there or anything. But I'm going to run you through a few laps here in the beginning of the run so you can kind of see what it looks like. Then I'll do a couple laps at the end. And then I'll show you a qualifying run for those interested in that. First lap here, though, I'm going to just do a slowed down version of what we are going to be doing. So exiting 4, this track's unique. You can kind of look at it up here. Got two different shaped corners. One's tighter than the other. If I'm not mistaken, this is 1 and 2. The narrow one is 3 and 4. I think I had that right. It feels like... Actually, I'm drawing a blank now. I could be wrong. I don't know. I feel like 1 and 2's the wider turn. But anyways. So reference point wise, this track is tricky because there's not great reference points. So I'm going to point out this extension beyond the normal wall that's kind of like a black or grayish wall. As that's passing by your A-pillar here is a good point to start braking. For both of these turns, if you find yourself pushing too high, you probably just need to back up your braking point. So right about there. So you can see this is the shadowed wall. I'm braking here. So like I said, as I'm passing by it. Applying about 50% throttle. I think it peaked. It might have peaked to like 60, 70%. But then down to 50 and slowly trailing out of it. This little seam here, I guess it's just like sealer or something like that. It's kind of a good guideline to let you know if you're hitting your line or not. I don't really go below this for this turn. Anything below that is too low and you're just probably going to get a terrible runoff. The straights here seem super duper long and then two pretty tight little corners. You'll actually see another little sealer line up here. I ideally try and keep the car somewhere between there. A lot of off throttle time. See, I'm completely out of the throttle here for a good amount of time. I'm out of the brake. Now I'm just letting the car coast, and then I'm feeding a little bit of throttle into it to get it to rotate. Feeding a little bit more. You can see this other second sealer line a little bit better here. About here, so pretty much as you're off the corner, I'm feeding it full throttle. Up to that point, I was kind of dancing around with the throttle a little bit, just trying to help the car rotate. Feed it all the way out to the wall. It's a pretty common thing to not feed out towards the wall and keep it a little bit shallower off the wall. Obviously, that's safer, but ultimately you're not carrying as much speed and it's not as fast. It's number one advice that I will give people is always kind of feed it out towards the wall in most situations. So then you're going down to 3 and 4 here. Now this turn is, in my opinion, trickier because you don't have... Essentially, I'm going to tell you, you don't have a break point at all. You have this little light up on the wall, but you can't wait until you get to that. You got to brake a good bit before that, so you're going to have to run some laps to get a good feel for it. Here at night, there are some little like shadows on the wall, and I think it's like 3 or 4 in advance of it is probably a good area. but don't count on that because you're going to have cars around you. You're not going to be able to rely on that. So the sight line I use is the signal light up on the wall, but know that you have to brake significantly before that. Let's see where I actually start. So right here is where I'm starting to brake. And I think even a little bit further back than that is going to be ideal. Again, there is a kind of a sealer line here that I kind of try and keep my car at. In this turn, you're actually going to bring it towards the bottom to get your exit. So now you can really see it. So by the time I make it to the end of this, I want to have the car kind of rotating towards the apron. And then I'm going to feed probably 50% throttle for the majority of the turn. So down to the rumble strip, but do not touch it. I can't say I actually touched it in this run, but I would not advise it. That's just a recipe to unsettle the car. You can see I'm feeding a little bit more throttle into it. About where this rumble strip comes to a complete end is going to be a good point to really start feeding back into the throttle or be close to full throttle at that point. So I'm at full throttle here. And feed it out to the wall. I'm going to let a couple laps play at full speed. I actually push up too high there. That's what I was talking about. You want to kind of keep it between those two sealer lines. And I'm probably a little high there. But then all the way down here and then full throttle or close to it. Do one more here. See if I keep it between the sealer a little bit better. Okay, so I drift up a little bit above the second one. Still, in my opinion, probably not ideal. Alright, let's do a couple laps here at the end of the run. Again, this was a 15-lap run. See how it compares later in the run. I think braking just kind of gets backed up even a little bit more on that wall. Yeah, here I drifted up to that second sealer line. I think a little bit earlier than I was earlier in the run there, but still same premise. Actually, got a 0x on the wall there. Easy to do to get it into the wall on exit. So you're trying to carry so much speed. Because otherwise you just balk the car down these straights. And after this, I'm going to show you a qualifying run. I don't know if it's fast or not. It was my fastest laps, but I mean, that's going to be up for interpretation if it's fast or not. Generally I haven't been qualifying, so I'm not too focused on qualifying speed. I cooked that way too much. I tried to get in really aggressive there, and obviously I pushed way up to the track, and you can hear the tires screaming, and I'm way loose off the. Alright, that was a 34, 453. I just ran this at default night with random weather and track state, so obviously that stuff could affect it a little bit. Last thing I wanted to show you was what my tire wear looked like after that 15 laps, just so you can kind of use that as a guideline. So, to no surprise, it does wear the right front a little bit more than the right rear. I think it's going to be hard to not do that. It's just going to be a matter of how much more you that right front. Obviously, driving deeper into the corners and pushing up on entry is going to wear the tires more. So, with that information, it has you choose. If you do have any questions, reach out to me. I'll answer what I can, but hopefully, this is pretty helpful for you.